and also keep her in a position to know that she is in the best situation she can be in and get the help she needs. Some of the challenges there probably aren't resolvable in some way or another, but keeping her safe is, and she's happy and she's there voluntarily. And so I think that that's massive. We also have an individual who at the time of this, we shared, was pregnant, and she has since had a healthy baby. And she has been living clean and sober now for 11 months. We were able to relocate her away from an area that was too familiar to her, and she has her own apartment now, and she is paying rent. And she is enjoying motherhood, and she has engaged in multiple community supports. And it's just incredible to see that transformation from somebody that we ran into pregnant on Park and 6th to now having her own apartment and meeting her at the park while she's having, playtime with her child. So. And then lastly, a male who high acuity mental health needs, starts with some substance use disorder, but mostly, it's mostly, I would say, exacerbated by substances, the mental health is, and this individual has been unhoused most of his adult life. And right now he is currently in permanent supportive housing. We were able to actually do collaboration with many agencies that we'll talk about later, but and he is living as appropriately independent as he possibly can at this point for the first time in his adult life. So I think that's massive.
Yeah. So we also want to talk about like this little ball cap. So also want to talk about some challenges, things that we're running into. I think, from a bird's eye, limited access to available resources due to barriers experienced by some of the individuals we're serving. I'm going to have Trish talk about two of those. One of those would be respite. One of those would be low barrier entry for family services.
So even with respite, I have spent hours today dealing with situations that fall into this category. It's for people who have wounds, open wounds, infection, who've had MRSA in the last 6 months, and people who maybe we don't need long-term solution for them. We need something while they have a PICC line or IV antibiotics or partial amputations of their feet on both sides that need some place to heal. It's not appropriate to be in shelter for that. It's not appropriate to be outside, but we really lack some place for them to be where they can exist and get the care that they need. And that's a challenge. We can't take somebody with a communicable disease that's infectious and contagious in the moment. We can't take them to shelter. That would be a public safety crisis, health crisis. And so some of that, the respite needs that we have, that's not long-term. We've actually had some great success with DSHS and Home and Community Services getting people into long-term care. It's the short-term. It's the getting healed while they're not quality or high acuity enough of a condition to keep in the hospital. They still need that ongoing care. They need wound care. They might need a wound vac. They might need a certain antibiotic that they will not prescribe to someone who's living outside because of conditions or side effects or temperature control, things like that. And then the other one, some of the challenge we see is with low barrier entries for family services. We are encountering families with children that don't have places to go, and there's nothing immediate for us to do in those instances where we encounter someone with a 5-year-old. We don't have any place to take them. If we want to go to a family shelter, there's a wait list, there's a background check. Background check folks work Monday through Friday. There's different barriers. So when we have someone come across a family in the evening, or if I come across a family and there's not a spot for them, there's literally no place that we have low barrier access to family services. And so I think that that's super important, that we recognize and continue to work towards something.
Go ahead, Jennifer.
A couple questions. So I know that we have a respite center coming from, is it PCHS? Yeah. And so I don't know what's our, and I forget what the time frame is on that. I see they've broken ground. Do we have a time frame on when that? Anybody have any? You don't.
I don't know if it would serve this.
Yeah, that's what
need or not.
The respite center, that's what it would do, right? Do you know what I'm talking about?
I do. We have very little information about it, and there's not been a definite announcement of what demographic or what the population that they would be able to serve.
I was just told that that's what it would be for, is for this specific kind of situation. Of course, you don't have it right now.
Right.
Like a daytime center and a respite center of
Mhm.
people just coming out of the hospital. And then, so the Salvation Army used to take families, they had a separate room.
Mhm.
And so does that still happen? I know that it's problematic because being a low barrier shelter, there's also like vendors and all kinds of
Right.
different people that come. And so is that still an option or not an option or not the best option?
There have been incredible partnerships there, and whenever possible, we do utilize that as an option. It's not always an option. There's not always space available.
Right.
And sometimes when it comes to that instance in the 7 o'clock in the evening or on a Sunday
They've already
afternoon.
they close at 9.
Right, so there's
So
not always
For
that.
intake at 8. or
Right,
something like
so
that.
just the access to it sometimes can be a little bit more difficult, but they've been incredible partners with families.
Okay, but it's very limited. So that's like your one option. You probably
And
have in
we
our county.
are seeing more families, is why it's being brought up more now. We're seeing more families than we saw a year ago.
And then you're talking about limited access. Something that I'm wondering is if this is a limited access for you is the lack of a car parking facility for folks who are living in their cars.
That's on an.
It is on-
Oh, yeah, okay, perfect.
No, that's,
Can I mention one thing on the after hours access to Salvation Army?
Sometimes you have partnerships and you're able to like call a
Yeah.
favor in.
Yeah, and officers can get people in there. Sometimes when I encounter people when I'm out late at night,
Mhm.
I'm always out late at night, and if you run into somebody, you can get them into the shelter. Especially if it's somebody who's, been reluctant to go to the shelter before because they want to be out doing whatever. Like, well, I can get you in. It's not like, that's not a barrier. I can get you in, and then you've got in there. Thankfully, I've never encountered a family at that hour, but I would hope that if I called Salvation Army after hours to get a family in, they would make the room.
They've always done everything they can.
they're incredibly public.
Yeah, I know. Okay, thank you. I segued you into.
I was gonna say, great
slide.
segue. So the next one, second slide for challenges would be frequently utilized
There we go.
services that are outside of the county that would be beneficial to have closer to Bremerton. One of those would be safe parking. One of those we talk about a low barrier medical detox. And before you get into those two, I just want to say transportation used to be a challenge. I think as a county, we're kind of sorting through the invoicing method and how that was going to work. So connected with Millen and Monroe, we're going to get that approved, get what we need, and be able to utilize transportation. So thank you to the council. Thank you to you, Councilmember Mockler, for follow-up and for information sharing. We appreciate that. And I know you took that to heart when you heard it. So thank you.
Do we
And let's thank Marlon too.
I was gonna
of
say,
course.
is our, because I think I shared with Melinda too, the contract that the county had with G2G2. So
Yeah.
now the city has the same contract.
Absolutely, yes. G2G2 and Marwan. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
So,
Isn't it great?
So let's,
Something.
Yeah.
yeah.
and then, so yeah, but let's part.
Safe parking, as you were just referring to, that is something that is very beneficial when it's run appropriately. And I do feel that it would benefit Bremerton in a very positive way to have access to that. Sometimes people with vehicles, that is the last shelter they have over their head. And it's not that they don't want to give up their car or that they don't want resources. That is their lifeline to other services. It's their lifeline to getting employment. It's so many things for people, and having a program that's well run and monitored. We're not saying just open up parking lots and you can just come park here, park wherever. It's actually programs that has a level of accountability, that compassion, and also the help with case management to move forward to your next step. Those programs are extremely successful, and it does alleviate what you could spend on a safe parking site. And I won't get into all the nitty gritty of it, but it would alleviate what happens to MPark, to law enforcement, to all of the other things that the resources that it affects when you have a lot of illegal parking or camping while parking. So that is something that we do access. We have made partnerships in neighboring counties who have allowed us to utilize their services there because they had capacity to. And then a low barrier medical detox. We have taken people as far as Aberdeen. We have taken them to Lacey. We have taken them to Seattle. We have utilized many things for a low barrier medical detox. And I think that that's extremely important, especially now with the fentanyl that we're dealing with. This is fentanyl that's not one dose of Narcan in your back. It's 6 or 7 doses of Narcan, and you're still going to re-overdose in 30 minutes if you don't get some health care. Those kinds of medical detoxes, we're not just putting someone in a subacute detox where they still risk terrible side effects, but also medical complications and or death, respiratory distress, respiratory failure, things, dehydration to the point of death. those are real things that happen with coming off of a substance, especially substances today. And so a low barrier medical detox could be something that is very beneficial for not only this area, but the entire county.
Would you like questions as you do the presentation? You're probably almost done, or do you want to wait until the
That's
end?
okay. You can do
Okay,
it.
so, Anna, you had a question on a previous slide, and
I
then
did.
Jennifer has a slide, I think, on detox. Sure.
Okay, so, the low barrier entry for family services, that's really, a woman and 4 children was camping in Lillian Walker Park there, like right across from Julie Cooper. And I mean, she put them up for the night, but there was nowhere on a Sunday evening for this family to go. And the mother spoke mostly ma'am, the Guatemalan. Yeah. So Captain Elton, would you have been able to find something for her had we called you?
With 4 children, I think that would be a challenge.
Yeah.
I would go straight to my go-to would be Salvation Army at that point with my limited amount of resources and ability to connect people. But as they've said before, they have been pretty good about reaching outside of the county where we've been limited on the resources and connecting people with some of those things like you're talking about. It would be a challenge.
Well, I guess I think that with the current immigration raids, and with the general fact that women from Guatemala tend to speak less Spanish and much less English than the older men in the family, that this is something that's going to come up some more. Would you guys be able to translate? Is this too minutia for you guys?
I don't mind. I think
Okay.
he's gonna let you know they have a translation service, please.
Yeah,
Yeah.
For ma'am.
Yeah, we have
Okay.
it's available. That's available to us now. We have an app and we have a bunch of.
Okay.
Well, I don't want to say a bunch for a small agency like ours. We have quite a few Spanish speaking officers now.
Great. And I have one thing on the respite, but I just wanted to say that the city council has gone down to Olympia every year for at least the last 2 years, if not 3, to ask for a 50-bed medical detox facility in Kitsap County. So I hope maybe we can talk to our lobbyist before this session starts and impress upon him.
The priority.
We would really like it. Yeah. The last thing I wanted to say was that as far as respite goes, have you considered talking to the people at the can't remember which hospital it's associated with, the one on Kitsap Way? They have an isolation, but I don't know. I doubt that they would want it used for 4 to 8 days.
They do not do respite. They're not set up to do respite. I actually did also reach out to the residency program that exists out here to see if we could partner a portion of shelter or somebody who's willing to maybe do a small scale in-home kind of thing, and then have the residency program be able to come in and treat and go that route. But as of this moment, no, I don't have any solutions to that. I did get some more information and had a great conversation today with Ingalls Wings, their coordinated care respite facility. But as wonderful as that is, there's always going to be a barrier, such as I can't send a husband and wife together and they're not willing to separate, even though we need some respite care. So I'm just looking a little bit broader into what would be suitable.
Okay, thank you, and thank you for respecting the dignity of people.
Absolutely.
Jack?
I was wondering if not now, but if you could maybe send us a link to, it seems like there's plenty of information that, or examples that you've seen of a good safe parking model. I know that for us, the barrier is that I think that our administration is looking for a community organization to partner with, right? Which I imagine is probably some of the most successful ones is where a community org is partnered. But I'm curious if there's some where it's city managed and or community org managed. So if you have a couple of examples that you could send to us, that'd be so wonderful.
100%.
And then I think that one of the barriers, as we're talking about barriers to a low barrier medical detox facility, is that there hasn't been good data on identified needs. And so for a long time there, I think I've mentioned before how I've talked to people that worked at these facilities KRC, et cetera. And maybe like at that moment, somebody's asking for medical detox and it's not, that data is not being captured because they're just being told, no, there's not, hang up. So is there, what data sets are you able to draw from to determine that we need a medical detox in this area?
So I participate in these types of services in multiple areas. One of the things I can say is that now, because of what we're seeing as far as how withdrawal is so complicated with the newer drugs and with the newer intensity of fentanyl and the combination of fentanyl and xylazine, is that we have a big program through MDC and Tacoma that recently they've used their opioid crisis lawsuit money, and they are now expanding their detox to 10 days and using that money to pay for it because the need has been so great for a real medical detox to prevent people from having negative side effects. And so that program will switch to 10 days here shortly. And then I do also, I participate with a lot of the drug and alcohol analysis studies that come through SAMHSA, which is the National Mental Health Organization and Addiction Medicine stuff. What we're seeing in the streets is a very different picture than what people could probably ever imagine when it comes to the withdrawal process. And so our risks are different with different demographics of folks as well. So like now, if you are pregnant and using fentanyl, I would say more than 50% of my encounters, they actually don't take you, they will put you right on methadone, and they prefer you to not come off of the fentanyl or methadone while you're pregnant. They want you to come off fentanyl, let me rephrase that, but they want you to stay on methadone because the risk of going into preterm labor and having complications is so great. And so as we're seeing these drugs increase and the intensity of them increase, it is harder for people to physically handle coming off of them. And so that is where the medical detox. And then also the coordination with inpatient treatment centers. Most of them, like 99% of them in Washington State, will not take a client unless they have gone through a medical detox when it comes to fentanyl or alcohol.
Wow.
And so we can't even get them in, which back in the day, it used to be you'd have to go for methamphetamines, and now Medicaid, for the most part, does not even pay for methamphetamine
They don't want to handle the
medical
coming
detox.
up with withdrawal because it's so dangerous.
So they won't even pay for it because they don't believe that methamphetamine detox is needed to that level of medical oversight. But like our inpatient services will not take you if you have opiates or alcohol in your system without a medical detox.
Okay. So what about the relationship with, there's one happening, it's with the Suquamish tribe on that area. So tell me what you know about that, and do you know anything about their groundbreaking when they're set to, I think 2026?
It is a year out. I do know that. I have started communicating more with the tribe because they are starting to cover more of the services that will impact Bremerton positively. And so, yes, again, I'm somebody who I hope is not a business term for me. Like, until it's here, I'm going to keep asking for it.
Yep.
And so that it's a need and it's great. We've been out at 3 a.m. To coordinate with G2 to get someone to Lacey to get the first bed that opened for medical detox for a veteran. Yeah. I'll do it 100 times.
Okay.
But it would be so much easier for people to access those services if it was here. And also that would give us the opportunity to utilize more of the local resources here instead of.
And now that we have this collaboration with transportation, we're able to get those people to Lacey, whereas in the past, that was your barrier with transporting people out of the county, transporting people out of the service area that you were contracted for. Okay, great. Thank you for the information. You're doing a great job.
Yeah, thank you. I love the anecdotal stories. As you were talking about trends and all of that and answer to specific questions, I'm going to put our city attorney on the spot. Kylie, or maybe the rest of council knows, aren't we paying using our opioid lawsuit money for like administrative, organizational, coordinational services?
They're doing an analysis.
Yes, which exactly what we've been talking to these folks about.
We're doing the live analysis.
Right.
Sorry to interrupt you.
Right. So I'm just wondering, when are we going to get that actual data through that organization?
Salish Recovery.
Yeah, not just Commonstreet.
No, Salish Recovery.
Salish.
They're the ones that have the opioid money that we.
Yeah. Right.
We call the behavioral health and services. And
nonprofit organization, that address behavioral health crises. So it's a balance Jefferson. And she just got it. The Human Services, is in that department of the county, gets to shut down. But, if you want to connect with me, I can talk to see about getting data about.
Well, if we're getting an analysis of some sort, kind of through Commonstreet, those are the folks that you're saying. I'm wondering, okay, we're paying this money to this organization that's doing all of this coordination and analysis.
Not a lot of money though.
Can we, yeah, but we're paying for it. Can we get a report? That be appropriate, maybe?
Yeah, I think, Ann's taking notes and
Yeah.
we're gonna have various presentations from
We can
various
follow up.
organizations. So.
Yeah,
And it's not all of
Thank
it's here too. It hasn't all come in. It's gonna come in over time.
sure,
And it's not a lot, not like Pierce County's allotment. So
sure.
it's not sorry.
We're gonna let you finish your presentation.
Yeah.
I just have one more slide, but it's a summary slide, so if there's any other questions, please.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I'll let you get to your summary and then we'll take more questions.
In summary, multiple individuals connected to shelters and or transitional housing. More and more people than ever are willing to actually engage with us and start working a plan to try to change the trajectory of their lives, which is fantastic. And that's not just a slide quote there, it's really more and more than ever have.
Truly.
And then other service providers continue to partner when appropriate toward working for positive outcomes, which has been great because that wasn't always the case, especially up front. But we have great partnerships.
We do, and I do want to call a little bit of it out very quickly. The Real team, Frankie and April from the Real team have been phenomenal. They have responded on the spot. They've responded with multiple situations, calls. They've done everything. The partnership collaboration has been amazing. Bremerton Police Department continues to be exceptional. And also Rochelle and Honolulu, who are their navigators, spot on. Kitsap Rescue Mission has become an incredible partner. Carol, Jeff, and Destiny are the case managers there. I am now there about once a week as needed because our people have been receiving referrals to go into the rescue mission. It's a process, I'm not gonna lie. Getting a background check, showing up for the appointment, getting your animal screened, it's a process. Having that collaboration, and a huge shout out to Dice from the Heart team because Dice has been helping us facilitate the people that are needing that from our end. Salvation Army continues to be a strong source of support. Eric and Dale and also the captains have been very involved. And then Rock the Block, Bremerton, Prayer Walk, and Bailey Tupai. I don't know if I should say God's Broken Home or the Village or what, but Bailey Tupai.
We know who that is.
Correct. But those three organizations continue to provide great partnerships. And I don't mean partnerships as in we call when we need something. I mean like we case collaborate. We talk about options. We decide who's bringing the vegetable tray and who's bringing the meat and potatoes to the potluck kind of thing. Because if y'all show up with the vegetable tray to my potluck, I'm gonna leave mad and hungry, and that's not a good combination, right? We all need to bring to the table the different things we can bring so that we get a full meal, and that's really what it's about. But these individuals that I just mentioned, huge shout out to them. It's not always easy, and it's sometimes even harder when you're friends with the new kids, right? And so we were the new kids for a while, and these folks chose to step up and play nice, and I really appreciate that. And I think that's awesome.
That's great.
Thank you for that. So I had told Captain Elton approximately half hour for presentation and questions. We're over that, and that's fine. But maybe no more than 10 minutes, if that's reasonable for the follow-up questions and answers. And go ahead on.
Michael, you have
I'm okay.
Just a couple of things, and thank you for that exhaustive list of partners that have really worked well with you. One of the things I wanted to ask about is you and I talked in the past about a day tent, like what they have at Homelessness Salvation Army, where people have a place to hang out during the day. You guys all know I've brought this up at least 3 times. And I didn't see that on your needs or your challenges, whatever you're going to call them. Is that like often you don't want to present more than 3 things to people?
Correct.
Okay.
And 30 minutes.
We don't want to give a wish list.
I will say it is something that is still, it's such a huge need. I recently had the opportunity, I teach a segment at the Healthcare Authority They put on this outreach academy every year. It's statewide, and I had the opportunity to present there, and it was something that actually is being done widely across the state that's having great success. And before I do put it on this to come to you, hear me loud and clear, it's still a very big need. But I did want some evidence-based data to say, here's what Port Angeles is doing, here is what Tacoma is doing, here's what Mossy Rock is doing, to see that it covers a variety of cities, small, large, lots of substance use, barely any substance use, different demographics and different populations of folks. So yes, it is a big need still.
Okay. Second and last, one thing that Chief Wolf has said to us is that if any church wants to host, like, let's say 5 or 6 cars for a safe parking event, that they're fine with that. So that's already been mentioned in open council, so I'm just repeating it in front of you guys. And that's it. Thank you so much for your work. I'd love to, can I just ask for them to give everyone the data on how many fewer overdoses there are now than there used to be before we had Commonstreet? Okay.
Sure.
I'm trying to remember the exact data. It's significantly less. I don't have the exact data that came from prior, so but it's a huge, astonishing number. But honestly, it was so validating because afterwards I went, oh, and that is why we're all so tired. Like, I get it now. So yes, but we will find it and send it.
Thank you for all you do.
That's great. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I just
Michael, go ahead.
didn't have much to say, and thank you for, so last week at the public safety meeting, but just thank you so much. Please make sure, like kind of Anna was alluding to, that you're letting us know what we could do. Any of us might have a weird resource or things like that. But I just really, Trisha, appreciate the way you can present the information to us. Your passion clearly comes through as well. I'll get emotional if I talk anymore.
And Jennifer, anytime that you want, if you wanted to come see a safe parking site in person, you are welcome to.
All right.
I did take on it to show her a couple of them, and it's pretty impressive how they're able to facilitate these and make them operational. But there is one in Gig Harbor that's phenomenal.
We've done a lot of thinking on our end from Commonstreet's perspective, where we designed a whole program taking the best of all of them.
Mhm.
And here's
Mhm.
what we would want to see managed well in the city.
I
would like to see
love a
that.
presentation on that. Can you bring it to public safety?
Or just forward it, but yeah.
Forward it, or just next time you come quarterly, whatever, you can come and present on that because it needs to happen.
Yeah.
Especially as the temps drop. We're enjoying our hot temps now, but
Yeah.
camping isn't gonna be as easy.
Yeah, it's a great spot to continue working people through the plan and getting the next steps. And the goal is not for people to go there and stay there. It's for them to work a plan and get back to community.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Good. No,
very
thank
much.
you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank
Thank
Captain
you.
Elton.
As always,
Perko,
thank you.
Ms. Munson, thank you.
Thank
very
you.
much.
Yes.
Alrighty.
Thank you.
All right, now we're going to turn to agenda bill briefings. First up, I'd like to welcome our fire chief, Pat McGanney, here to present item B1, which is the resolution adopting the Kitsap County multi-jurisdiction, multi-hazard mitigation plan. That is a mouthful.
Mouthful.
Sounds good. Laugh.
Well, it is multi-jurisdictional.
Yes, Chief McGanney, and it's like an 80-page document. I'm sure we all read it, cover to cover.
Cover to cover.
I was hoping, waiting for questions.
Yeah,
Council
Hey,
President,
I have a question on appendix C. No, go ahead.
So you stated it in that before you is the updated Kitsap County Hazard Mitigation Plan. About every 5 years, the county updates it. One, resources and things change around the county. And two, they help with federal funding. So kind of kills 2 birds with 1 stone. We went through this drill actually in 2024. They finally finished it up and it is before you now for the city's approval portion of it to accept it. Port Orchard and Bainbridge Island and Paulsville are all for this plan too. So
This came through public safety.
consent.
I mean, he stayed up all last night studying.
On page 42, third paragraph.
Somehow I don't believe that.
There's a misspelling on.
Okay, so officially, how do we want to treat that?
Consent.
Thank you, Chief.
Yeah.
We needed that with
Thanks,
Missy, but.
Chief.
when are we
That's
gonna
why I
get
hadn't
that?
been here so much, so I've been
Oh,
trying
you
to
had to
keep
pop
you
in.
guys with something at least once a month. Thank you very much.
Appreciate the attention, the delicate attention.
All right, I'm not sure this next item will be so easy. However, I'd like to welcome our Financial Administrative Service Director, Mr. Mike Riley, and Budget Analyst Missy Gaines, who I believe is online, here to present item, whoa, no, but I saw you online, so you tricked me.
Laptop.
I can share my screen.
There you go. To present the next item, which is our ordinance, amending ordinance number 5503 relating to the city of Bremerton's fiscal years 25 to 26 budgets. Go ahead.
I can just say, it went fairly well at finance yesterday. I mean, I think you guys did a good job of, especially your opening summary. Do that again.
Perfect. Yeah, we're just going to mirror kind of what we did yesterday in finance. So two real parts of what we
That's
kind of
right,
want to
Alan.
present. The mid-year packet by itself is, it's a lot of housekeeping stuff. So Missy will go through that. We have some highlights. The other part of it was highlighting where we kind of ended 24, how we started 25 with, with the numbers trued up, and then some of the things that are kind of facing us going into 26. So we'll give some highlights. So real quick, when we passed the.
Page 364.
Yeah, so this is in your packet. I'm not going to any order. Missy will start the presentation going kind of through the packet. But where we finished 2024, when we did the budget for 25, we anticipated and adopted what we believe was the starting fund balance for 25 at $15 million in the general fund. Where we actually finished, materialized, was $17.6 million, or $2.6 million to the good. So that's good news. And that's attrition, things that we talked about during the budget process, things that we didn't do, or again, salary savings. So rolling into the new year, that reset beginning fund balance, up on the screen, I think we just.
It's really, I was trying to set this.
It's in our packet.
It is in your packet. So, so we have some, within the general fund, we're amending to spend just over, I think, $1.2 million of additional money that has to do with settlements for, with some of our contracts and things we had to true up. So we had, and I'll pull this so I can see it better on my screen. We had adopted in 25 an ending fund balance at the end of 25 of just over $8 million, which was 12.9% fund balance. We are, with the budget amendment, with our reset beginning fund balance, we are now adopting and amending to have an ending fund balance in the general fund at $9.2 million. So above what we started, and that is at 14.5%, 14.5, 14.6% ending fund balance. So just a highlight there. What else is some of the things you'll see in the packet? We did an analysis again of all funds. Look, we were talking, I think, last year about the golf fund, and it's been successful in the fund balance. And could there potentially be an opportunity to fund some parks capital stuff with that fund balance? So in this budget packet, you'll see $500,000 moving from the golf fund into parks capital. And I call that Tim's fund. To do some things, to match money for any grants that they can find, but also some of the major maintenance items that we know that the parks have, that so have a little bit of flexibility to take things to council and have some seed money in the 310 fund. There's a $500,000 move there. That still leaves the golf fund with a healthy reserve over 50% of fund balance. Per policy for operations for golf is 12% per policy.
Like, what about the need for redoing the golf, the irrigation systems and the
New
So,
bathroom.
having a over 50% fund balance, it takes that into consideration with the 10-year plan that we continue to talk with them through the remodel, the renovation of the Cascade course, how they plan to attack the irrigation system piece kind of by phase. That still leaves a positive outlook in the fund. Okay. So that was a conservative move of only $500,000. We could have considered more, but I felt with those needs that are pending out there, we need to move slowly. So we'll continue to look at that. You'll see that in your packet.
Well, another area you'll see is, per council's, I think actually 2 years ago, council had adopted that we fund the, 1/10 of 1% for the arts fund, maintain a $10,000 fund balance at all times. If that's made up through our construction, the 1/10 of 1% going from, capital projects, or the general fund will just fund that difference. You'll see that amendment here that gives them a $10,000 fund balance and the authority to spend. They have a work plan that was submitted through Tim, just short of that, about $9,000 worth of things for the Arts Commission submitted to the city. So that establishes a fund, operating fund for them as well. And then, really, those are kind of the highlights I want to go over with what you'll see in the packet. You're going to see some changes, insurance adjustments. You'll see that through every fund. There's a risk management adjustment for increased insurance costs. WSA spoke to us about the $240,000 increase for 25, what that was attributable to. And then once we're done with this presentation with the mid-year, we'll kind of talk about what we're looking at for 26. So, okay, with that, we'll go slide by slide.
So I have it as 2 screens up here just because the general fund kind of spans 2 pages and it's kind of nice to be able to try to see it, but that's really small. So you do have it in your packet. And after this, the general fund, I'll go to single page view. So in this left column down here, you should see the originally adopted budget for 2025. The center one is the proposed mid-year budget. And then the third column is the adjustment required from the original adopted budget. So you can see right here where we had that 8 million ending fund balance, which we're now projecting to be 9.2 million with the adjustments made. We also have for each fund some sectioned off items. So items previously approved by council and their impacts, the carryover items from prior year, and then new budgetary items. So for the general fund, there's that 1% for the arts transfer. We had some expenditures and revenues for the California fires that are in here. And then the risk management insurance increase, the general fund had the biggest hit at 217,000. So we are required to have at least an 8.5 minimum ending fund balance. And with the adjustments, we are at 14.3% in the general fund, and GFOA recommends 16.67. So we're closer to it than we originally projected, but not quite there yet. The general fund is so large. Does anyone have any questions on this part?
I'd say one thing to note here, you can see we ratified the PPOG contract. So you'll see the PPOG and the retro payouts of just over $1 million. That's the most significant adjustment that you'll see in the mid-year packet for general.
What's PPOG?
PPOG is the place. It's your patrol. It's your union officer. It's non-mandated.
Thanks.
So for the street funds, the only adjustment we had outside of beginning fund balance was that risk management insurance increase. The contingency reserve fund only had a change to the beginning fund balance. Lodging tax fund, there was an increase to the LTAC award expenditures that was approved by council for 33,000, and then the fund balance increase. And then parking system fund has risk management insurance increases to it. Community development block grants only had the beginning fund balance update. Abatement revolving funds only had the beginning fund balance. Same for police special project funds. BCAT had a couple items that were carried over from 2024 that carried over into 2025 that are shown here in addition to their beginning fund balance. Gift and donation fund had a couple items in there. They had some restoration donations and expenditures, as well as a flagpole expenditure that needed to be 2025. So those adjustments are made in here. The trial improvement fund just had an update to the beginning fund balance. The 1% for the arts fund, you can see that transfer coming in from the general fund right here, and then we gave them the budget authority for spending that 10,000, and then their fund balance beginning was updated as well. And then the conference center operations, they had some of that insurance increase affected as well, and then they can carry over for conference center airline. And then the debt funds, none of those had any changes other than to their beginning fund balance. The general government capital improvement fund had a technical correction for a transfer that already occurred in 2024, so we were back out. It had some carryover within public works and affordable housing. And then actually, you'll see this on the next fund, that parks actually received the Kitsap link disability grant. And so because they received that, they no longer needed the REIT transfer. So we're actually backing out the REIT transfer from the parks fund. So that's staying in 308. My highlight off. The park facilities construction fund. So this 321 is the grant that they had received. And then the transfers in, we took out that 311 and included that transfer in from Goodnow at the transportation capital project had a lot of carryover items from 2024 to 2025 for both their revenues and expenditures. Fire public safety capital had no adjustments other than beginning funds. Affordable housing capital fund, there was some revenues that weren't seen in 2024 that are going to be 2025 items, and so we just had those as a carryover item. And then water utility had a technical correction from our prior year that's included, as well as the insurance increase and then some wind share software. And then water capital is carryover, and then they had one project on here that was previously approved by council. Wastewater utility had.
What pages are you on here?
On 395 now.
Thanks.
So for the wastewater utility, they have the insurance increase and the web share software as well. Wastewater capital had carryover projects. Stormwater utility had, once again, insurance increase and the web share software. And stormwater capital had a technical correction. That's the other half of the transfer that already occurred in 2024. And then they had carryover items.
I know you were very clear about it the other day, but when she keeps mentioning these insurance, it's the piece of the bigger piece from the beginning. So these are not, so it is a lot of increase, but I don't know if that makes sense. So the city had an increase and that gets divvied out to the different departments.
The aggregate is 341,000.
Yeah.
That was the total adjustment.
Yeah, and I get shown on fund both right here.
Everybody gets a little pay.
Everybody gets a little bit of pain.
Is the aggregation like an actuary formula, or is there like an FTE formula? I'm curious.
How do we spread it out?
I love the way you're
It's a-
talking. Those are finance terms.
I was on finance.
No, right, yeah, it's an allocation based on FTE. So if there's 100 staff that live in one fund, 2 staff that live in one big, so it's all
So it's based on FTE more than
Based on-
anything,
based on FTE.
and not risk management by department? I would think-
There-
I would think
there's a
parks is more
there's
than
a
finance.
factor to that, but how the increase is done is based on FTE.
Just by FTE? Okay.
It's people.
Sorry, I didn't mean to call out parks, but I would think that there's more accidents that happen at parks than do in your finance department as well.
But people cause problems, so.
Are you guys causing problems in finance?
Maybe,
Not today.
maybe.
Okay, sometimes. Thank you.
The utility debt reserve, only change there was getting fund balance. So Gold Mountain Golf Complex, you can see that they also had an insurance increase. They had some equipment that needed replaced, and then they have that 500,000 transferred to the park capital. And then this is the risk management. So this is where you're going to see all of those insurance pieces that you're seeing in the other funds. They're all feeding into this fund for the revenue side. And this is the expenditure that gets paid out of this So that 341,000 was the actual increase in the insurance premium paid in 2025. And then employment security just had beginning fund balance increase. And then accumulated leave liability had changed to their beginning fund balance. Equipment rental reserves, they had a carryover for air compression units. They had also part of the insurance increase. They had a mobile focused smart app that they have in here. And then there was a small piece of the California virus that was
Which pages are we?
I don't know what page it is in your big.
What page is it on fund number?
It's on
509.
509.
Thank you.
Okay, did we skip over 507?
There was nothing there.
There's a
Streets go by fast on this block.
Accumulated leave liability,
Then, nothing there.
Nothing to say.
Nothing there.
nothing to see? It's not, okay, I mean, it looks like it's 400,000 difference. but
It's
okay.
resetting the beginning fund balance, that's all. From earning, so there's no budgetary change.
Okay.
The fund 10, which is the technical reserve. So that is the other half of the technical correction for forestry that was previously shown on a different slide as well. And then we had some carryover items, and then the police department had a grant that they wanted to utilize, so they moved the purchase of a vehicle to 2025. So that's what this is down here. That way they could utilize the grant fund. And then Fund 511, which is the last fund on here, is the information services, and that's just a little bit of the insurance.
And that's your good year. So I asked Missy this year, typically what we'll do is ask them just questions, it's mostly housekeeping. I just see it, it's a little monotonous, so I'll go through every fund. I thought this year would be good to work through each and every item, so you can see, especially that the insurance hit and how that gets allocated. And some of the other things, I think there's some highlights too. So if there's any questions specifically on this, we can answer this, or we can I'll move to the kind of the 26 forecast and some of the estimates we're receiving, and what
Right.
we're looking at.
Good. So let's start with any questions on the presentation so far.
See it. Oh, question. Oh, sorry.
2026.
2026. Some things that we're looking at in front of us, and kind of our message. Been asking, what's the message? Resetting, starting our fund balance, and seeing that having that a more positive position than we net estimated. That's a good thing. Allows the city to kind of weather through some of the economics that are facing us. So that our message is need. It's need. There's no new dollars. We got to watch our spend. Really, really watch our spend. Some things we're seeing sales tax dollars. So right now we're forecasting. It looks right now I think we budgeted. I'm going to give the wrong number, so I'm going to say that the net effect about $1 million increase over what we budgeted, what we're forecasted to land at the year. That can change with the forecast based on prior results and where we think we're heading. It's about $1 million more than we budgeted. So that's good. On the flip side of that, we're seeing increased costs or jail services costs. So at the end of 25, we got a new jail bed rate. So we budgeted 1.9 million for our jail costs. We're forecasting right now based on what we see at 2.9 million for 25.
I wonder if the answer is to incarcerate people less, just an idea.
I'll leave that here with you. So $2.9 million, $1 million there. We have a jail bed estimated increase of 29% going into 26. So we look at that dollar amount, I think it's 3 points of that.
29%.
29% increase, which would be, you said $3.5 million estimated. Now, again, we control that. We have the ability to where how we utilize the jail. There's other contracts we've used previously with City of Portland, Palm County. So we're working internally, how do we mitigate those costs? So that's significant. That's a significant increase. We just talked about our risk management fund, our insurance. We've had, and I have the number up, I don't know, we can probably pull it up. So we had $341,000 increase over year for this contract. We have another 19% increase facing us in 26, which will push our insurance costs. I believe it's 2.6 million, but I'll keep talking while I think Missy can find the worksheets. That is a significant number again. Another $650,000 of increased costs for 26 insurance. And that is claims based. That is doing a 3 look back. We had WCIA. Yeah. So 3.6 to 4 million is what our budget for 26 would look like. Just give you an idea of where we've been. That is from 22 to 25, 224% in our insurance cost. So I don't know where I was heading a different avenue, so I saw the right number. Yes.
If we had not joined WCIA, if we had not joined the risk pool, give us a little good news, like how much it would be costing us now?
I haven't done analysis or exposure in the claims that we had stop loss insurance at $500,000, which isn't, so we would fund it cash out of our coffers up to $500,000 for each claim. Above that would be insured. That $500,000 policy is gone. That's $1 million. So we'd be paying everything up to $1 million, up to $1 million, up to $1 million. I think our exposure risk is greatly beyond that.
Yeah.
Obviously there are adjustments. We're taking in the same factors, but we're a 19% adjustment. WCA sat here and told us all we would have saw a cost reduction if we didn't have the claims that we got that we received. So again, 224% increase over the from 22 to 25. 25 actual is 3 million and going to 3.6 million, so $600,000 increase in 26, which we had 341,000.
Yeah.
24, 25. These are costs that are facing the city in 26.
Exactly.
Yeah, so I don't want to brush, but I mean, y'all might have thought it was a flippant comment I made about less incarcerated people less, but that kind of does lead into colleagues. I just think it's a good idea for us to appreciate and pay attention to programs like Commonstreet and other diversion programs that might assist us in reducing the cost of this. I mean, I don't know if we're getting the bang for our buck with Commonstreet. If there's other programs out there, I mean, I guess, Attorney Fennell, what are the diversion programs available in our community that, I mean, I know we used to have a behavioral one in our city, but is that a behavioral diversion program? Are there?
Yeah, there's a lot of, our office utilizes a pre-charging diversion program, people advocates all together. We also use pre-child diversion agreements for prosecutions, compromise misdemeanor. And then there still is a community support in operation.
Right.
And so,
Is there still a community? I mean,
there is.
Okay.
And so there are a variety of diversion of programs that people can use. There's also jail alternatives. So even if a person is convicted, the court can sentence them service, the electronic monitoring, and so jail costs are big fluctuate. I think that the increase has to do with a lot of like the county facing lawsuits related to, I think those costs
and I'm not going to like go on and on about this, but I just want to ask a couple clarifying questions about diversion programs, community service. Who manages community service at this point in time? Do we have a community service? Do we have a community services officer still?
There's the court makes the decision on whether or not someone is able to serve their sentence that way, and then they monitor whether or not the hours is important.
There's no community services officer specifically that monitors community service.
Not specifically community service. The court clerks do that.
So that's a change from when I was doing community service, because I used to have Mr. Boynton. And so
Jennifer, we're kind of in the weeds on this.
I'm just curious. I understand, but I'm just trying to figure out if there's underutilized programs, if there's ways that we can save costs by using diversion programs instead of this increase. Because they're talking about $1 million.
Not part of the issue on the table.
They're talking about it internally.
All right. My colleagues would like me to stop.
When it comes to things involving the court, there is also judicial independence. And so the court ultimately has the discretion how they want to treat a case, right? And so there have been in other cities issues related to jail budgets. Problem. There's a big one in Oklahoma a few years back that I was probably but it might be a topic that we can also get like more information about, like, I know, you know, the fiscal administrators, like that, just to understand what the data is, and like how people are getting how the funds are being utilized. But a lot of it happens after my office is done thinking, right? You know, so.
And I just want to clarify, this wasn't just me talking about my old stuff. The reason is because we were funding some court things, and I'm wondering if we're still funding them. There was a program that was with the courts when our previous judge was there that was proven to be not very effective, and I just wanted to make sure we're not still funding that.
Therapeutic court.
Mhm.
It's still there.
And they've maintained the therapeutic court program.
Okay, they maintained the therapeutic court, and then
Maintain the
I'm
same
not on public
caseload.
safety, but
Don't know about the case, those are speaking.
Right.
So we did hire a new therapy court.
So it seems that since this is a budget related agenda item and you stated that y'all are talking about what some options might be to mitigate this increase in cost, use it less, whatever. It sounds like maybe it might be appropriate for you to come back and just let us know. At some point, I'm not saying that it needs to hold this up. I'm just saying that's a point of information that is obviously of interest and is related to the budget. Great example of trying to mitigate some cost overruns.
I can talk to, Gary about maybe that we talk to public safety about, and then.
That's great.
That'd be great.
You think? Yeah.
No, it's a great thing. I'm not asking you to stop on that issue. It's just, we're kind of having a conversation over our presenters that doesn't actually affect what we're here today to do with this one item. It's very
I thought that we
valid,
were here to discuss the budgetary changes in 2026.
but all these concepts are something that might happen months down the road, not for this budget
So,
adjustment.
yeah, it should separate the two. So we
This
have
is the time to talk
So
about
we
it.
have the mid-year budget package, the mid-year 25 is what's on the agenda, and I have kind of probably dropped over into some 26
No worries.
that we're forecasting too, so the
Right.
item is to vote on 25 amendment, which
Yeah.
I
I think both points are valid,
Yeah.
but you're right. We just did talk about what's on the agenda thing. Now you give us a little forecast 26 because there's some council members who are worried about what's happening.
we
yeah,
are.
no, so, yeah.
And so you're letting us know the general concepts, but we don't need to come up with solutions.
Right.
Not tonight, not today. I think there's, like I said, there's things we're looking at internally. How do you mitigate a contract? Is there other solutions for us? And I think there's some things we have to look at, and same thing with insurance, with bills.
So when might that happen? What's the timeline on something like that? Just ongoing updates.
Yeah,
maybe
it's kind of ongoing
finance.
updates. I'd say specifically on jail costs, the conversation with the chief and how we operate and the contracts they have available to them. When we're talking in the court and the diversion program, like I think Kylie just said, the court has discretion of how they can treat those. We don't have, really any say in that. So,
So far, you've told us about $1 million, maybe an increased sales tax revenue and like 2-3 million.
I'm feeling pretty good.
Let's hear some more revenue.
Revenue time.
they can mix them up.
How about some progressive revenue streams?
So, didn't come prepared for that one this evening. I will say we're seeing, we're outperforming in our utility taxes, that from budget. So we're seeing increases. There was in finance committee last month, I think Jane brought it up. I was asking about telephone utility tax and some of the other gas tax. We're outperforming budget. So there are some dollars that are hitting our other taxes. Just due to, I think some of it's the cost increase. So PSE had a significant, rate increase to their customers. We're going to see in turn an increase in taxes. The telephone utility tax is kind of interesting to look into. So that's outperforming. I thought that was, interesting. We were digging a little bit more there. But it's telephone utility tax.
Like actual
Phone.
landlines?
So, yeah,
Does
kind
that
of,
include cell phones?
no,
That
No.
makes no sense.
makes no
then.
sense, correct, yeah.
Yeah.
So digging into that a little bit. But we're seeing.
Maybe you don't want to dig in. Maybe just take them on.
Are there more
Either
office
side, we'd
buildings
like to
opening
know,
up?
so I'm not-
Who has a landline?
There's a trend we're missing.
Yeah, so we're taking a look, and it could be something internal, how we budget it. So,
Sure.
but again, those dollars are coming in more than we budgeted. That's a good thing. Our B&O taxes are still remaining solid. Those are coming in strong. Anything else on this that we're trying to talk about? So there's some more. There's $500,000 there, $1,000 there. But costs are what we're really keeping an eye on. I'll give you some good, I think is relatively decent news. June to June, CPIU came out 2.7%. So on our contracts, we just ratified with Teamsters, it was a 2 to 4 rank.
Yeah.
We get a range.
Yeah.
So we budgeted, we thought 3, we're at 2.
Yeah.
That would be a 2.7.
That's great.
Cost of living.
Good catch.
Instead.
Thank
So-
you, Eric.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, there you go. So, speaking of our contracts, we ratified our police guild contract, and where
Right.
that, we paid out the retro payment, total retros for, that was about $900,000 in total, including benefits over a full year.
Just police?
The police.
Okay.
Yes, that was paid out on May 30th of 25. Our Teamsters contract, just settled that. The retro payment there was about $330,000, about 6 months retro. That was processed on the 17th of June. Other management professional was about 163,000. That's still processing. That was the last one we processed for retro. And then our police management group and our firefighter IAFF is still no signature. So we're still working on those. We don't have true numbers there. All contracts were kind of a little bit further than we kind of originally budgeted and estimated where we land. The market based. So again, those costs get us in 25, and those are reset the 26, 27. Going in as we sell those contracts, those will be reflected in the 26 budget. If we have that information when we reset 26 this fall, and then forecasting on 27, 28 going into next year. So, so there's still a lot in front of us, I guess.
And the firefighters understand that we, the city council, have nothing whatsoever to do with the negotiation, at this point? That we
yeah.
have given you no
They're aware that
guidelines at all?
I think we have the council has given us a percent to work within, in that. So, other than that, we've been communicating back and forth that when we have items, we'll bring it back to council.
Great, thank you.
But I think our next meeting, I believe, is September. August.
If you have a question, but we don't need to be talking about union negotiations, so.
No, I'm not
Okay.
at all.
Yeah.
No, I was gonna say that, I didn't think that was appropriate to talk about union negotiations. I guess, is it normal that we don't have, I mean, this is our first biennial budget. So I guess, I would have loved to see the forecast included in the packet for 2026.
We're not there. We're not. This is a high level. The forecasts are being built right now. So all the worksheets, we are resetting the 26 budget this fall. So you will go back and
Okay.
reconfirm. 26.
Okay.
That comes through the normal budget cycle. So right now, departments have the worksheets for all of July. They get turned back in and say, here was my budget approved by council. I need to go adjust what I know. If there's contract adjustments or asking them to take a hard look. So welcome back. We recompile all of that information. Once that's back in, we also take things we know contractually, forecast
Sure.
revenue, and it comes back to council.
Sure. When we did the biennial budget, we had 2026 projected, and so it just feels, and I'm not a financial expert. It just feels that if you're adjusting from one year to the next, there's some that are easy to fix, that to show a forecast of. If you're taking the one vehicle from one year and putting it into 2025, you just change that number, we can see the next year. Okay, all right, I'll let it go. It just feels,
I'm not really tracking with you, but I'm sure
Yeah.
you get there.
well, what I'm saying is it feels like we should be looking at next year's, because we looked at the 2 years when we approved the biennial
So
budget.
I think you will, it's coming in like 2 months.
Okay,
You have
Alright.
to say, so when we go through an annual budget, there's things that change to the biannual. You have an adopted budget for 26.
Mhm.
We don't have to put that massive book together, but everything else is the same as an annual budget. We have to go through and reset 26. And so you will do the same budget process, similar budget process that you did last year for 26 again.
Mhm.
Because we're reconfirming it. So you'll see all the work, you'll get the work. Here's the numbers, here's our
Okay.
new number, and we'll go through
Okay.
that with you.
Not to complain, but
Yeah.
why'd we move to a 2-year budget? If
There's-
it's gonna be.
Right?
There's less.
I don't mind.
It gives,
There
it's
is
better
less
for
work.
planning,
There's
for
less
planning
work to be done.
purposes, yeah.
Putting together a 500-page document is significant, a lot of the minutia of it, and we can forecast and look at 2 years. We like that, but you're required by a lot of reaffirm. You still have to reaffirm, but I'd love to say, we're leaving it and let's just see what happens. But it's our chance to take a look. It's a short session.
Sure.
Kind of like the state does, long session, short session. We're in the short
Exactly.
session.
It was a good move, and it was a good suggestion, and it was something positive that came out of my time as your.
So it's coming, it's coming your way. You'll see, you'll have an in-depth time to take a look at where we're at and we'll reforecast those 26 numbers that we just talked about. That's got to get
Okay.
updated and then go, well, now what's the fund like, and make those decisions. But the message I think we need to hear is costs are exceeding our revenues, and we continue to try to mitigate that and be aware what we can do internally to kind of weather the problem. We still have a lot of unknowns with the federal government and some of the grants that are coming our way. We're still working through each one of those. I think Kylie's briefed the council. Every letter of award we receive from the federal government, we have to look at. Can we sign it? Can we accept it? That's significant too. So there's still some unknowns. We're working through that. I think piece by piece. So.
Okay, Anna, then Denise.
Okay, mine is really just a format question. In both Microsoft Word and I think Excel, it's really easy to set up a table of contents with hyperlinks. We could go from a table of contents in both the mid-year adjustment and in the one that you're going to give us in the fall, and we could move through it with like page numbers. And similarly, it's really simple to delineate one row across multiple, because they're big spreadsheets. If, like with color or texture or lines or just something so that it's easy to tell one row of figures apart from the next. Final, just formatting thing. It's, you can also set up your headers so that they are visible as you scroll down through. These are all things that would make it easier for us to read it and for the public to read it. And then the final format thing is every year, the draft budget is tossed onto the website in October, and we have 10 days to look through it, 10 days in which we are basically a bunch of geese being force-fed a ton of information. And it is, how can we, the council, get that information a little earlier so that we can ask questions a little earlier?
And it's a great question. I think we looked at it last year, and I work back to the timeline. I don't have an answer for you. Our size of government, double my staff.
Do you have a draft budget that circulates among staff?
No, it's draft. It's in working. It's a working budget that's not ready for consumption for the public. Once it's out there, it's public, and that creates more questions than answers. So
we couldn't look at it in executive session.
No, not allowed.
Okay.
Can I quickly say that I agree
Hold on.
with Anna about the formatting? This is a little bit harder to read, and hyperlinks are very helpful. I think also that could be helpful in our agenda too, that we have our online agenda, hyperlinks to B1, B2, et cetera.
Yeah, we can work with that. Definitely. We convert everything out of Excel and Word because of workable documents into PDF. But there's a PDF you can
See it in our other board meetings, and I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Denise, we take a look at that.
Thank you.
Yeah,
for
just a
letting me know that.
question. As you're looking forward and you know what your steps are gonna be, you know what you're looking for, are there points at which, things will be elevated if necessary? What I'm hearing you telling staff, and it's, typical of, we're tightening our belt, I want you to look at anything you can cut, and then maybe next time it's like, okay, now I want a 10% cut, of your budget, Do you have that earmarked? Is that a gut instinct when
It's not gut. No, I think you look at, so our adopted policy for fund balance is to maintain 8.5% fund balance.
Right,
I think
right.
that is a trigger point. That's set by policy. It makes it easy.
right,
We are not allowed to adopt a budget less than 8.5%.
right,
That is the tipping point where we will be at.
Okay.
That's the next step. That is the definite point of we have to do something different.
okay,
I think there's steps between that and where we're at.
sure,
We have discussions internally and then bring it out and say, hey, yeah, we need to make, this type of spend. We're not going to be doing this.
sure,
So we just have to continue to watch what the economy looks like and have those discussions, looking at those fund balances, looking at our cash flow.
exactly,
And so there's trigger points.
okay,
And so,
okay,
the mayor and I sit down and we're looking and saying, where are we at right now? Right now, we're in a better, the council has positioned the city and the mayor's positioned the city since 11 years, adopting fund balances beyond 8.5%, 16.67, and materializing greater where you've given yourself the ability to weather the storm a little bit. Where other places around, we're hearing things, maybe not so much. We have pretty diversified revenues for government. We have with the base as our neighbor, there are certain things that insulate this community that helps. So we can take a more measured approach. But there are some things I think as spoken in budget, those dollars are getting greater apart. Where even though we see attrition savings, it's getting bigger.
And that's unbalanced percentage is
It
getting
is.
closer.
So we used to be, when I came to the city, it was 8, and it was 9, and it was 10, and 12, and then we said we need to adopt 16.67. That takes political will. to
Oh
do
my
that,
gosh,
because it's not dollars being put back out there saying
Yeah.
we need to be able to fund our coffers.
Yeah.
And that is, and it's like, this is GFOA best practice, government finance office
Yeah.
associations establishes that, says you need that to weather the downturn time.
Right.
And that allows. We also have a rainy day fund that's fully funded per state or the state law of about $2 million. I think it's $2.2 million, $1.8 million. I can't remember the number right now out of my head, but there's that money we don't even talk about. It's not even part of the fund balance. So you have time to look, but there are critical moments when we start going, okay, we're at 8% fund balance. Things can happen that we'll have to talk about.
Okay.
So I hope it does.
That helped considerably.
Great. Good question. Thank you.
Another positive thing is years ago, Mike, we did the equipment rental or reserve. We didn't pay as you go for replacement vehicles, and we implemented that procedure. I don't know how many years ago, 8, 10 years ago.
Yep.
And so now if we hadn't, we'd be in a bigger hole.
Exactly. Well, you try to pay yourself first. We established that fund, and then we weren't funding. And so we're still buying stuff out. And so we established that. There's other mechanisms we don't want to, don't want to put on the table. There's these dollars that you don't have to have over here. You go back over here, but if you don't have it over here, there's a need there too. So we're not there yet.
I gotcha. I understand.
Contingency reserve is at 2.4 million. Okay.
So it's in addition.
In addition to.
the fund balance.
Yep, and that takes council action. So if you spend any of that. So.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so how do we want to treat the actual agenda bill item, which is the budget adjustment for 2025? Do we want to do consent or general business?
I think we do a consent, the adjustment to 25.
I think general business, but I'm willing to be overruled. I mean, I know technically.
Can I make one comment just because I know where you're thinking? My presentation in the full session will just be. This was an educational. Council. I won't be talking about 26. It's still stopped and moving. It would just be that packet. So just want to say I probably have to wrong.
Michael, will you provide popcorn for everyone if we go over all those 2025 items?
We will probably.
I will set up a stand in the lobby.
Also, we will minimize. Pretty much we go up and say.
My bakery stand out.
We will not go through each one of those.
I can understand why you want general business, but it's really, there's not much to it. There's no, oh my goodness, for 25. Is there? I don't know if I heard a third time.
I don't feel like there's a whole lot of changes. I think that some of the changes I don't think that there's any surprises.
To me, this is housekeeping.
I just think that.
If one councilman wants general business, we'd respect that.
That's what I'm saying is that I know technically I can do this, but I'm just I'm saying it's budget. That seems like something that should be readily available to the public. It's really hard to get the recordings of these study sessions after like a month has gone by. You have to do a Freedom of Information Act request just about. Or in fact, actually, I
They
think
should be posted.
So
the
here's
study sessions.
here's the problem. If Mike presents it
What?
or
Our media's discussions are only up for 30 days.
On the website, and you're still.
Still available.
I'm sorry, Eric.
if Mike presents it or Missy presents the budget, what I'm understanding is that it's basically going to be the summary sheet, the adjustments, and there's not going to be a presentation where she goes over all these items. I don't know how else. It's going to be, you're going to have a lot of questions saying, well, what did you adjust? You're kind of glossing.
Normally, I would be saying,
no, if I'm the
that,
only one.
I'd be saying, let's get this.
Yeah, if I'm the only one, then I'll just yield and let's put it on consent.
Consent it is.
Thank you very much.
But be ready.
I know we'll have
Well,
some,
you
hopefully
could come
Camacho
down
is gonna be up on
anytime.
asking about it. He's gonna be talking about Brenda Smith Cove. Better be ready for him.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Missy,
Right.
you did a great job, Missy.
Yeah, you
Thank you.
did. Thank
You
you.
did a really nice job.
Both of you.
Let's see if anybody wants.
Anybody in the peanut gallery wants to?
Oh, that's
popcorn?
not politically correct
Is it
anymore.
not?
Yeah.
You
Oh my
can't say
God.
peanut
Take it back.
gallery? Peanut gallery.
I'm saying it.
I can,
There's precedent for that in city council.
Can we
Okay.
take a 5-minute break?
I'm good with a 5-minute break. Actually, it's 6:27. Let's come back at 6:35.
Okay.
the land.
Yeah, in response to PDF. Advocate with that.
Okay, folks, we're back in session. We're under general council business now. Item C1, Denise and I are up first. Okay. Update on council goal number 8, housing equity. These are our ad hoc committees, so the MFTE ad hoc committee. So I guess I can start if you're okay with that, Denise.
I'm fine with it.
Jane and I and Denise met yesterday. And it's funny, I was talking to Denise, and you guys might know my MO is usually, I think Denise and Jane were maybe, this is fair to say, we're on opposite sides for the MFT discussion. I think that's an okay thing to say. And I was all prepared to come in and say, okay, let me bridge the gap, let's reach consensus, whatever. So they let me do my spiel, and it turns out they were already in agreement on what.
It was actually a lot of fun.
So I go through this whole routine. This is what we need to do, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, yeah, we already decided that. So
It comes under the heading of trust the process.
So
It really does.
So guys, I hope, so this is going to be, we already talked with Attorney Pinnell, and we're going to put it on for the next study session. So I'll hold the details for then, so we can all discuss it at the council. But I think hopefully once you understand our rationale, you'll be pleased with what we came as an outcome. And it's a simple solution. Okay. So you're all good with that? I think our building association would like to have more details, but that's what I'm leaving it at for tonight. And I will now turn to our lodging tax ad hoc committee. You guys also met yesterday, and that was Denise and Michael.
And also Jane.
And Jane as well.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Go ahead, whoever wants to speak.
And I'll start and then fill in.
Okay.
Under the auspices now of Ann Williams, who was coordinating cats, she actually got us together, had a good meeting kind of agenda to work through some things. And I think the primary element that we really all came to consensus around was separating out the branding from the rest of the RFP. Could be that the same organization does it, but that it's two separate scopes of work.
Okay.
And we did a really thorough job on taking a look at the list for distribution of, we'd like your feedback, letters or an email is going to go out around all this, and we wanted to make sure everybody was included. So that was the big thing. The big takeaway for me was that. How about you?
I think we settled on this idea that we should possibly look at us doing a tourism like brand, so that when we get our DMO in place, they have something ready to work with that's already sort of, city approved. So that might just be coming up with, a look and a simplest way, like a tagline, but a concept of like what it feels like. So anyways, this is always complicated stuff to talk about. Some people get it very easily and some people don't. So we've actually invited Jeannie Allen, who recently rebranded Kitsap Regional Library, which has really done a fantastic job, and then just did their 80th anniversary. And because it's more about like a catchy phrase or the things like that, it's really about how things feel and how things look. And I mean, it's very complicated.
The vibe.
And sometimes you just see stuff and you just know that that's it, And so anyways, I think that's what we're looking at trying to come up with is maybe it'd be an RFP, maybe in the sooner than later from lodging tax that would look to do tourism branding for the city. And then instead of including that in the RFP for the DMO, which I kind of brought this up before, we just wouldn't see results, We're not, for so far, this way they could come in and be like, ready to go with an approved concept. And
So would you do this for the 2026?
that's what we're thinking. Yeah. I mean, this is this was just this week. So,
I know.
but that's what we're trying to see if we can get everything ready and then have a bigger discussion. Yeah.
And we've got another meeting scheduled
Yeah.
for a month from now.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
Yes.
So it was good.
I think
Really
it was
good.
great. Yeah. And many thanks to Anne.
Good. Other questions?
I do. I made a suggestion to Jane and I wondered if what you guys had thought of it, which was because we're not getting LTAC money after 30 days of a hotel stay, that we could do what other places do, which is after 30 days, you have to move to a new round.
Yeah, we talked about that a little bit. So we are collecting some data. I think we're just going to ask some of the hotels how often. I mean, is this happening a million times a year or 3? So we're going to try to figure that out. But Jane said it was her idea. No, I'm just kidding.
That doesn't sound like.
She's not here to
Wait a
defend herself.
minute.
That was
I'll
good.
stir the pot.
Can't you change the policy of a hotel?
I don't know. I don't. That would be the next question.
If you're a government entity paying, it changed their, I'm uncomfortable with this.
That's not what we're
Okay.
doing. We're simply connecting with the representatives on LTAC, around long-term stays, how they're handled. What is the
Yeah.
policy
Okay.
of the hotel around that? How is that captured? We can always advocate with that hotel.
It does seem
You
like
know,
But
as
it
a,
also seems like if a hotel is paid, I think it's roughly like $2, $2-3 a night for 30 days. They put a good bit into but you know what? These 30 days they're all government contractors or government employees. So we probably have to be careful who we're going after too.
More to be revealed.
Mhm.
All right.
It's like an onion.
Now we'll go to public safety, Michael. All these things queued up, ready to. Okay, so public safety, we had very interesting, on the multi-jurisdictional, multi-hazard mitigation plan, which we covered tonight. And then, we also had a great presentation on Commonstreet, which we had tonight.
First section of our
I'm
meeting.
starting to wonder if this is as efficient as we think it is,
I know.
especially when we do things 3 times. Okay, and then, is it Captain Elton?
Yes.
I think it's Captain Elton that I wrote that
Yeah,
down.
yeah, I think you're right, but I think that's new in my head.
He was Lieutenant Elton.
He is captain now.
Yeah, we should just stay still. So
No.
we went over some statistics with Commonstreet, and then he also had some other data. We had a kind of initial conversation from the police department about fireworks, but we're also planning to have next meeting, I think, a little more from the fire department as well.
And I tried to bring it up with the both of them, but I just felt like Lions Park this year was crazier than normal.
Yeah,
There was fights, a stabbing, it was a
Oh,
lot of
gosh.
stuff happening over there. I mean, apparently it was worse at Evergreen. That doesn't matter as much to me. It just, there's a lot happening, a lot more than usual.
somebody,
It felt scary to walk through, and I'm kind of a tough broad. So I was nervous to walk through the crowd because of how chaotic it was and the energy of it.
Mhm.
Somebody brought up
different.
the idea of maybe having like a designated park or spot or something. I don't remember who brought that up.
I think that was Anne.
It was Captain Payne.
I thought it was
Okay,
Payne too.
Chief Payne.
Yeah. So anyways, but yeah, I mean, again, I think in general, we're feeling that we're seeing progress in the direction we want as far as,
But that's concerning.
but
It's absolutely concerning, and Jane was there as well, and so she's not on public safety.
Mhm.
Okay, so she and I were both concerned about what happened over it. It just felt bad.
yeah,
Well, we'll
And
check in at the
so-
next meeting and
I think,
Yeah.
and I just,
I
what
recently
I,
learned that it's best time for organ donation.
okay,
Curious, it's just because healthy people have bad things happen around.
this is not germane, and you're in the weeds.
No, it's just, you just talked about somebody getting stabbed, like.
volley back.
Okay, but what I would like to minimize the amount of organ donation happening on 4th of July in my area and the city at large. I just observed some behaviors, and what I knew I couldn't do is call and report them, because there's a number you call. So it's like I witnessed these girls and this group pointing the candles, right at each other and shooting it across the parking lot. And then it was going here, but it's straight out instead of, and I knew that I couldn't call anybody.
The number is gone.
The number is gone. There's no way to report it. So that's the part that was concerning for me. And I'm not like a big stickler every year on this, right? This is like, I'm kind of, remember when Quinn was like, oh, but so many people love it. I'm like, yeah, okay, they love it. But how do if something dangerous is happening? Well, okay. I just did not feel that I could based on the messaging from prior years.
You're not supposed to call and say some kids are lighting off fireworks, but when you see dangerous.
Violent.
I felt like I couldn't.
I know, I'm just saying in the future, feel like you can.
I think Jane and I both felt like we couldn't. We both had this feeling. So I think that then the messaging wasn't clear. If there's some kind of, because what the messaging has been in the past is, here's the number to call, but then the number's gone. And we're not going to respond to these. We're not going to respond to these. So I guess this year the messaging was confusing or not there at all. Thank you for letting me say my piece.
I'd just like to add that Captain Payne from the fire department spent much of the day, he said, going around to parks and talking to people and showing them the flyers that Anne created that I kept pushing for. And it was his impression that this was the lightest year we've had in a while.
Yeah.
I don't know if the education component was a coincidence, but it didn't cost us much, and I think we should pursue it in subsequent years.
It's hard when you're not collecting data to know what is going on, but it's certainly, we can follow up in the next committee meeting.
It felt more extreme this year than in the previous few.
Yeah.
So, and that's anecdotal and not.
No, but everyone's perception of that
It's
is their
different.
reality. It's
That's
a
right.
valid
That's
thing.
right.
Like, yeah.
That's right.
And he might not have witnessed that piece, like.
Well, it was at nighttime.
Yeah.
It was thank you. That's all.
All right. Kylie shared a couple of just like kind of proud notes that former city prosecutor Maureen McKeenan was appointed to the Polsville municipal judge position, and former prosecutor Gina Buskirk was appointed to district court position. So, anyways, that's kind of cool. We've got some good legacy out there.
Yeah.
And Chief Wolf introduced Lieutenant Rodney Robach. I think a new lieutenant, and he's supporting police department command staff. And I think that's all I have on that. Any other questions on public safety?
Okay.
I'll try to get the next thing. Okay.
Public Works Committee. Donation.
I am the only representative here. I did take some notes, but remember, I take notes about things that I'm interested in. So stormwater probably won't be on this. We can expect the utility lands management plan to come into study session at the end of August 8/27.
Thank you.
There continues to be a lot of conversation about that, and I look forward to that discussion, 27. That, just to remind you, it's around our forestry and water and all that important stuff. The draft traffic calming policy has gone to the Complete Streets Committee. It's still in the works. I think they think they're getting closer. Gunnar has been the representative on this. We were told pretty clearly that the active transportation plan that was separated out from the transportation plan as part of the comprehensive plan is really running late, and they're not even really sure. They were thinking about moving to a different contractor. Anyway, it's just been a mess. No one's fault, just kind of contractor wasn't available, then they were, then, so we're going to stay tuned to that. The draft traffic calming policy, of course, is going to be a part of that plan. So stay tuned. Red light cameras, we're adding another, and so there's going to be some competition for that, but they're doing a full analysis. And they'll be bringing to Public Works where those locations that they recommend would be.
Are there gonna be school zones added to?
Yeah, school
And
parks, school and park. There is, I heard mention of a downtown activation plan, that, I think is probably to do with Quincy Square. So some planning going around that. We can look forward to hearing more about that. And then some critical software updates, have been made. And I believe that contract went, over, and we had to, Chance, interrupt me if I'm wrong about any of this stuff. But it was kind of we had to go through with what we were marching towards with our data. Yes. So we did it. It wasn't that much of a hit. And
Uh-oh.
yeah.
The new SCADA?
Yeah.
What happened?
So if we're gonna have a dialogue, maybe Director Bartholomew can come up to the table.
There's even popcorn waiting for you.
Yes, I saw that. Like, it doesn't work for me. So, the contract was for updating the wastewater treatment plant SCADA system. They use a Wonderware. And there was some integration issues with getting it, updated, getting the equipment working correctly. And they apparently went through and did all of the work that needed to be done. And now we have, they need to update the portal's cost. It was within the budget.
Okay.
So it's not additional, we're not asking for budget adjustment. We will need to increase the cost for that, for the, contract to pay for it. But
This was on your budget.
It's still within your budget.
still within the budget.
Yeah.
Yeah, the utility budgets are great. We don't have issues.
There's money.
We
Well-
have the
But
money.
you want to
run
spend
and
it well.
operate the
They brought
system.
it was transparency. They brought it to us to let us know that it happened, and
Yes, it's not recommended to do that,
yeah.
not at all.
Thank you for showing your trust in us.
We had a very serious conversation about that, so. Yes, well, I'm doing this, it's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
Or my contracts, I can tell you that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Is that it?
And that's really it for my report. Yeah, and you don't know if it's complete because nobody else here from.
Well, let's assume it
Public
is.
Works
Thank you.
here.
Okay, now we'll go back to Michael, Parks, Finance, Investment, Parking Committee, all the committees combined. Or whatever.
Okay, so,
Ships it.
so we had, Public Works, just presented on some funding they're looking for some Biloxi against paving. And, for some ideas they have to, do a little work around View Ridge, sort of safe schools kind of thing, but I don't think it's a full-on safe schools. And there's, I'm not gonna remember exactly, I don't have the minutes yet, but it's, there's some, they're looking for some projects that would fit some funding that they want to apply for. If that LCID funding, they fund. Yes, thank you. So, then we did the, June budget report. If you'd like me to go over that again.
No, thank you.
Please.
And we talked about, mid-year budget adjustment, and then we did,
Can we talk about the jails?
yeah, I do have that other business. We'll be up in a second. We had a little update on parks projects. I can't remember any highlights, Tim. Sorry. Okay.
Just low lights.
And I think,
Oh, do we have electricity? Yeah, Lulu had.
do we have electricity at Lulu?
Yeah, I've got pictures of lights on. that.
What?
No, that wasn't a complete answer. Do we have electricity? You can't have lights on. You're acting like a politician.
The lights are on.
No one's answering the question. But you're not answering the question. Do we have electricity?
We have lights, buried lines, and we have a completed checklist.
And the sprinklers are working?
Is it tied in?
They're
Wait,
working fantastically on their controller.
is it tied in? The power's tied in? Fine.
Absolutely.
Okay. Thanks. All right. That's all I have.
All right, thank you. Questions? No? Other regional and committee board meetings?
Did we give an update? I have been gone. I was not for study session, but were you able to give an update about the changes to the 911 fees?
Yeah, I talked about that last time.
you.
Mike, you know about
Going up.
that?
I do. Actually had numbers for it, but it wasn't this.
It was like 80 or 90,000
You know, like 27,000 for the first this year.
over 3 years.
And over 3 years, they had total, it wasn't not really material, but they reassessed. The big one was how they recalculated the county's
Right.
portion.
Right.
And hence the
We had some
commissioners voted
interesting
no.
discussion about that.
Yeah.
Could have
Okay,
been more.
Kitsap Transit, presented the transit development plan that everybody here had a chance to review. They are still fixed on changing the zoning for gateway to allow transit storage. And, you know, nothing is happening here, like, this council are concerned about the legal implications of saying, hey, we're not gonna let you change the zoning. So, is everybody following me? Okay. So, you know, I didn't bring it up again. And the transit development plan passed. We bought, we got an engine fixed. We got a couple of engines fixed in boats, which is really expensive. Don't buy a boat.
Yeah.
That was pretty
Have
much,
friends of those.
pretty much all there was from Kitsap Transit.
All right, anything else for good of the order? I have one item. I have something I wanted to bring up.
I just, and this was just touched on, so there may be some stuff in the works, and I might just be out of the loop, but it actually revolves around sort of Quincy Square activation. I would really like to see us close that street on the weekends,
Yeah.
and I wish we had done it right away instead of even being open last weekend. And I would like to come up with some way that, that not a festival, but like something on the stage could be sort of fast tracked, whether like an agency, like obviously like Roxy could have our insurance on file, could have, you know, all sort of paperwork on file. Then maybe we check in with the downtown association. Nothing's going on this Saturday. Streets already closed. We're going to put some music on there for everybody to enjoy. Like, I just want to make sure that I've already heard people going, yeah, it looks great, but it's, nothing else is going to happen. And somebody says, what's the next thing happening in Quincy Square? I'm like, I don't know. People,
Maybe this activation plan.
so my real question is that something that we can start pushing from here? Is there an answer? Is there something else happening on the other end? But I just, you know, we just put a lot of effort and energy. It was tough for all the businesses down there, and let's make the
Keep it
results
happening.
happen.
Is there a, I shouldn't maybe ask this, I don't know the answer. Is there a Quincy Square
Event calendar?
organization?
No,
Friends of
we,
Quincy Square.
I had kind of considered that, and but I think that we're looking at the downtown association to help with that, and the downtown association has moved in to the museum, so they're on the block. So,
It sounds like there should be one organization that's kind of,
Yeah.
okay, here's what
Yeah.
we got for the agenda instead of, oh, who's handling it this week or whatever. So,
Operation.
Just to be the point.
Mayor, did you have a,
But we're working through what it would take to staff
Yeah,
Quincy on a regular basis next year.
yeah.
And so you've seen the budget, and every time we do a weekend event, special event, that's overtime. So we're coming up with a plan for citywide and then a Quincy Square plan. And the activation part, that's we funded the position, a lot of effort went into the pretty phenomenal opening event. And so,
Oh, yeah.
and then they're still finding for other events downtown. So I know there's a hurry to to make sure we keep momentum going.
They follow through.
Yeah, we've got one person at the point right now. That's good.
Yeah, so like, I'm trying to make it easy, and I'm trying to, an organization could sort of have it could be for a month or maybe a quarter or maybe a season. They could have all those things. If risk management wants us to submit the COI on the first of the month or whatever, like we got to figure out some way
What's the model gonna be?
that at any given time, so I think the first thing is closing the street on the weekend and then allowing, whether it's the brewery, maybe the museum would do a history talk, like just really light things, no infrastructure added to the street, no tents,
security,
no need for security,
Right.
just
something to do.
Yeah, bring your own camp chair,
Dance
Yeah.
party.
We can, well, we are working on
That's a
a
good
immediate
idea.
event, in downtown Quincy Square would be the test case. Hopefully we can expand it where we create a streamlined special event.
Yeah.
That'll require pre-agreements up front.
I think I'm disappointed that we haven't got it done before Quincy Square opened. So, because it was delayed, if anybody noticed. So I wish we had figured some of this out. Although I will say, that being said, like we have to now learn how to use it because there are challenges, and the sun was brutal for the Quincy Square opening, and it doesn't go anywhere. It's up above and it goes right down the street. It comes right at you. And so, and there's not a lot of ways to put shade there and things
Isn't
like
that
that.
something that council could do though, around closing the street?
Yeah,
on
well, that's, I
weekends?
guess my question is, if we wanted to have a standing thing where a street was closed on a weekend, is that a
That's
council thing? Is that a
So
policy?
I think I have an answer to that, or whatever city attorney though too, because council had to take action to make Fifth Street one way. So I think the mayor proposed it, but the council actually approved. So, but Kylie, do you know off the top of your head? Yeah, I believe that's it.
I know it's built to have the bollards.
Yeah.
The community certainly would like
I
to
just-
see it.
My vision would be last public works person out before they turn the lights off, puts the balloons up on Friday. And they come in on Monday or maybe Tuesday if it's a holiday, and they,
Sure. But normally it's parks, I think.
or whoever,
Yeah.
all these amazing people.
He's got more money now.
So I,
And so Jennifer's been waiting patiently, so we're gonna.
not very patient.
I was gonna say.
Well, that might be an
Just waiting.
overstatement, but no, I mean, I think this is, okay, y'all. This really is though also an opportunity to have a weekend artisan market too. And I really love your idea about having the different businesses have a roll call in that.
I'm really
So-
saying for nothing's happening. It's a shame nothing's happening. Let's make something happen.
Yeah.
How about put it as a proposal?
I'm not saying not to do farmers. Okay,
Do a special event, because farmers market. There's already a blueprint out there.
but I'm not talking markets and
No,
festivals.
you're
I'm
talking-
saying, oh, there's nothing going on this weekend and the weather's gonna be nice.
Yeah.
Let's have a way to fast track stage use,
You
street
used
closed.
to coordinate Rock the Block all the time.
So,
So let's bring.
Rock the
same-
dock.
Yeah,
Rock the
yeah.
dock, yeah, sorry.
sorry, yeah.
We could bring in that same type of entertainment.
That costs
But
money.
there's a budget.
You want other organizations to
Yes, that's exactly what it is. It's about, I mean,
access.
the brewery puts music
The
inside
brewery
all the
could do
time.
it
If it's
easily.
nice weather
Yeah.
and the street was already closed, they could put somebody on the
Very
stage and sell.
I'm
I-
not sure what's not.
Well,
Traffic.
we don't know we have the permission to do that and traffic.
So
So,
find out.
Yeah.
I mean, let's say you want to do something next
Get with
weekend.
Jeff and have him submit something.
Yeah.
Help him
Yeah.
submit something.
So that's kind of a conceptual question here for Quincy Square. So I used to go to Denver for work, and there's a 17th Street, I think it was called. And that is completely closed to the public all the time, except for, I mean, closed to vehicles, I'm sorry. So it's like, what are you gonna do? Everybody goes to 17th Street. It's got all the restaurants and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And it's completely walkable and it's paved, but you walk in the street. The only exception is there's this subway car or whatever you call it.
A trolley.
Trolley that goes, which is, you grab the trolley because it's a long street. It's not as short as Quincy Square. But what is the concept for Quincy Square? is it just for the weekend or is it gonna evolve? Is it gonna be like 17th Street, just be closed to cars all the time?
We built it out for cars. We put all the, we had the opportunity to make it a pedestrian plaza. It was chosen not to be. So
Which I don't understand that.
I
I
don't
always
either.
thought it was gonna be a pedestrian plaza.
so many people think that when they come down.
It can still
And
be.
the other thing I see is like people do more like just meander in and out of the street because there's no curbs. And people are parking on the sidewalks. also.
There's someone inviting myself in, but we gotta work with, not everybody down there is real comfortable with just shutting down all traffic and parking, so we do have to do that outreach. And some are really.
We do, and there are a few property owners or businesses. And I understand that their livelihood is dependent on it and all of that, and yet I know there's that big garage right there on the corner.
Yeah.
And I've always found parking there. And it's easily accessible to that
Mhm.
street. And we have to think there are a lot more people than, I'm a fan of business owners and big supporter. And yet we have a community to serve, and Quincy Square was meant
Well,
to
and
be a
that could be part of the
community
trade-off
asset.
is that if you have a business that operates there, maybe that's the only people who can apply for these sort of fast turnaround or fast approval stage
Who
use.
knows?
That's
So-
pretty good. Katie is still the point.
Yeah.
Katie Better. I'm trying to, what I'm trying to do is not have 6 people take the lead on this
Yeah.
project.
Yeah.
And gum it up. If we can
Right.
keep-
And I'll say, I'm just speaking out to make sure that these things are being either worked on
They are.
or that we can work on them in parallel and get some things.
Yeah.
I just,
I wanna,
Hang on,
I don't-
Anna actually has been waiting patiently,
Okay.
so we're gonna go on.
I have.
is a good role model.
Yeah, so I was gonna speak up and say, 2 or 3 business owners on 4th Street are less important than the people who live and play in Bremerton, especially the people who live here. I don't think that people are aware of how great it is to have a festival street that's closed to traffic until they experience it. My initial question was, who is responsible for programming and maintaining Quincy Square?
We did dedicate budget for that.
Right, but
Operating
who is
costs.
getting that money? There's gotta be some entity, right?
Going to be interlocal agreement. It's going to be with downtown business. So
Okay, so DBA is responsible for both programming and maintenance?
coordination with the city of Bremerton. So,
What does that mean when it's at home?
well,
Sounds like there's work to be done.
there's a lot of.
That's what he was saying
Can I
earlier.
just finish with this question? So like, what does it mean to coordinate with the city of Bremerton?
Well,
Like,
We, there's deviating the order of events, what's coming in, working through the new special event process. Here's what's coming in. Evaluation of, well, what's that mean? How many streets do we have to block out? How many sandy cans do we need? How many first responders? Public safety, all of that on site. What else is gonna be food? We gotta, so just kind of sorting through.
so they're coordinating with you in the sense of getting the permits?
We would we still are the permit authority.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
we
that's
can
how
do
they're
that.
coordinating with you,
Yeah.
if they're getting the permits from you.
Yeah.
So maintenance, who's taking care of that?
Yeah, that's the same, it's ours.
Okay, so that's totally on you.
Parks and Public Works.
Yeah.
Parks and Public Works are splitting it up in one of their mysterious interlocal
collaborative.
agreements.
Amazing collaborations
Yes.
that they do to save the city money.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So so if it's DBA, then you can just go straight to DBA?
I don't think the DBA has,
You know,
I don't think they're ready to, right now.
Right.
they don't have the infrastructure for this. This is a whole new dedicated,
Yeah.
and it should have already happened.
Okay, so we have the tuxedo, we have the dress, we have the minister, and we just don't have a couple.
Right,
Okay.
okay. I mean, way to put people in a heteronormative box, but
Thank you, Jennifer.
Actually, you know why I wasn't, I think we can move on to that. We're done with that conversation.
And a correction on as well.
Oh,
Yeah, we definitely can move on.
wow.
Yes, President Younger.
Okay. Is that it?
I have something to go to, although.
Go ahead.
Okay, so I'd like us to really focus in especially for the rest of this year, and especially because it's been so hot, on courtesy, decorum, and respect towards each other. I think there's so many things that we all agree on that if we were doing that we could get more of them done. And last time I made this announcement, I said, anybody is free to jump on me with both feet if I'm doing something that's not courtesy, decorum, and respect. And I promise not to jump on both feet on anybody. That's it for good of the order.
We all can police each other. I encourage that. Okay. I have one thing for good of the order. So a couple of weeks ago, Tony Ives, KCR, reached out to me and explained that they would like someone from the Bremerton Council on the board. A little history of this. I asked Tony and
Leslie.
Right. So Leslie Doggs, council member Doggs, was a member of KCR, but she was not officially appointed by the city council. Whether she was on there before she got on council, I don't know. So talking this over with our city attorney. So their mandate, so KCR came from original funding, I believe, was from the U.S. Department of Commerce. It's a community action agency. Part of the board structure requires that 1/3 of their board members be local elected officials or their representatives. Not a requirement that one of these seats be filled by someone from the city of Bremerton. However, Director Ives has reached out to invite a Bremerton City Council member to consider serving. Now, when he asked me, I said, well, I gotta check with, you know me, I always say, I gotta check with the attorney, whatever. So the advice I've been given is, and he wanted me to make the selection. I don't know about that. So I think where we're at now is they have a retreat on August 21st. So they would like someone to be appointed before then. My guidance and what I believe what we're going to do is, if you're interested, please let Ann know by the end of this week. And from there, she'll coordinate the next steps with Director Ives based on who expresses interest. So I'm not making a decision whether, my preference is to put it back on Tony. If we have more than one person that's interested, let him pick who he wants to board. Originally, when I talked to him on the phone, he says, oh no, you make the selection. This is different. This isn't like Kitsap Transit where it's in their charter that you're going to have whatever, 2 representatives, or 911 where you have 3 representatives or whatever. It doesn't have to be City of Bremerton council member if you like it.
Can you share or maybe have Ann send out like what are the meeting requirements? What are the meeting times? How many times do they meet?
Sure. So she's taking notes. I'll have Ann ask Ann to contact Tony and find out more particulars. And at that time, when she gets back from Tony, she can disperse it to all council, but do not respond. I'll just respond to her if you're interested.
Okay.
Okay. Right. Nothing else for good of the order? We are not adjourning. We're going to go to executive session. We've got 15 minutes set aside to discuss qualifications of an applicant for public employment or to review performance of a public employee as allowed per RCW 42.30.110, parentheses 1, parentheses G. Note please that no action is anticipated. So we are now going to break for executive session.
Yeah.
Hey, folks, we're not adjourning. We're gonna extend our executive session for another 15 minutes. thing. Come on in, everybody. There's no one. Okay, folks, we're back in.
We have one person.
Okay. We're back in session. A reminder, there'll be no council meeting next Wednesday, July 30th, since this falls on the 5th Wednesday. So the next council meeting will be on Wednesday, August 6th, starting at 5:30 p.m. in the first floor meeting chambers, the Norm Dix Government Center. The public is invited to attend in person or remotely. If anyone wishes to speak during public recognition, please remember via Zoom must submit the request through the city clerk by calling 360-473-5323 at least 24 hours prior to the meeting. This meeting is adjourned.
And this is